my God. I've got a brilliant episode for you today, if I do say so myself. Slightly different angle and topic, keeping things fresh. I'm super excited about today's guest, and you'll soon see why. So I'm Laura Leyland, Managing Director at Fresh Perspective Resourcing, a recruitment business with a twist on the traditional, helping businesses grow and retain their people with our unique model and pricing. Everything we do has a twist on the usual take, including the podcast. Today, we're diving into something that affects all of us: communication, boundaries, and intimacy, and how they show up both at work and home. Avoiding difficult conversations, feeling misunderstood, unable to communicate effectively, bringing stress home from work, I think probably affects most people at some point in their lives. So, this episode is truly for everybody. Joining me today is Gemma Nice, a certified and multi-award winning sex and relationship coach who helps people improve communication, build trust, and reconnect with intimacy in their relationships. After starting her career as a veterinary nurse, that was a curveball for me, Gemma transitioned into coaching and now focuses on helping people understand just how stress, communication, and feeling safe all play a huge role in both their personal and professional lives. She's passionate about normalizing conversations that people often shy away from and getting us all a bit more open and honest. So, Gemma, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great chat.
Oh my, it really is. I've been looking forward to this. I mean, I always look forward to, no offense to my previous podcast guests, I always look forward to it. But this one I am really excited about, because I think it's a topic I find so interesting in myself. So God knows how we're going to keep this under an hour. We may have to do another one.
That's fine.
But yeah, so I know I've just given you a little bit of an intro. But for the listeners, please can you give us a quick overview of who you are and what you do?
I am Gemma Nice, yes. I am
Nice,
a certified...
sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I should have said that. No, it's fine. I am, yes, a certified sex and relationship coach. And yes, I do talk about sex a lot, but it doesn't mean that I actually want sex every single day. Like, everybody will message me saying... Everyone's like, oh my gosh, you must want sex all the time because you talk about it all the time. I'm like, no. I'm quite happy with my sex life. Yes, we do have it a lot, but anyway. So yeah, I help professional people. I help high achievers aged between sort of 35 to 45, or some are older, some are younger, with their intimate issues. So if you have communication, trust, or intimacy issues within your relationship, then and one of those is out of sync, then all of them are going to be out of sync. So I help you find the communication, because when you don't have the communication, you can't have the other two. And we start communication, which then allows the trust to happen, which allows the intimacy to happen. So it kind of builds from that. And yeah, I just love what I do. I really, really do. And I think I kind of fell into this because in 2006, I was a veterinary nurse. I was head veterinary nurse of one of the branch practices. I was actually at the same surgery for 19 years. And at that point, my husband and I, we weren't married at that point, but we were, the relationship was just falling apart. And we'd had an argument the day of this thing happening. And actually, a dog nearly died because of me, because I was thinking more about the argument and not about the dog that I was supposed to be looking after under anaesthetic. I was like, oh my God, right. I need to change things up now. So I went home. I was like, right, we need to sort this out. And it was like we were just passing ships in the night. We were never seeing each other, not really communicating, not really talking. We were kind of on the rocks and thought, right, let's just do something. So we actually then went backpacking for 7 months and together.
Oh my God.
And, yeah. And that really helped.
I can see my facial expressions as you're telling this story.
So then we started off in South Africa, and by like 3 days in, we were back to what we should have been. And it was just like, we just needed that time. We just needed that click. And then we got to Thailand. We went to South Africa, China, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, New Zealand, LA, and back home again. And when we were in Thailand, I was just chilling on a hammock and I saw these 5 Thai people doing really weird things in the sand and thought, oh, I love that. I want to do that. And it turned out it was yoga. So I then came back and I bought a book in Malaysia, like an idiot's guide to yoga. And then when we got to New Zealand, I bought a mat, which I still have. I don't really use it anymore because it's gone a bit funny. But I then thought, right, yoga, meditation, journaling, breath work, EFT tapping, all of these well-being modalities really, really helped me to get my relationship back on track. I then want to become a yoga teacher. So I became a yoga teacher. And then in 2019, I kind of thought, right, everyone's a yoga teacher. I had a business coach at that time, and she said, right, everyone's a yoga teacher. What is your niche? And I was like, yeah, that's true. Everyone is a yoga teacher. Are you, Laura?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. And so
I
she
do
was like,
yoga.
well,
I love yoga. We actually got someone coming into the office today to a yoga session with the
oh,
team.
cool. Oh, that's good. And I just thought, well, right, I know that I needed all of these yoga things in my life to save my relationship. And she was like, well, at that point, I think we'd been together 19 years. And she was like, well, you know what you're doing. Let's move it to relationships. So you can use well-being in relationships. And that's what I do now. And I thought that's such a good twist. And I thought, right, in the last 2 years, actually, I kind of navigated it a bit more towards sex because everyone just hates talking about it. Everyone does it, but doesn't want to talk about it because of the taboo. And I'm quite happy to just say anything, you know me, from LinkedIn. I can just say what I want and I don't care. So my ideal is to get people talking about sex and intimacy at a dinner party. Now, I know you've got one coming up, actually. You've got a party coming up. That's my thing. I want you to talk about everything like
Yeah.
that. I know you do anyway in the office, but...
Emily will, that's my sister for anyone listening who doesn't know. I'm my business partner. She frequently does that. Yeah, we're quite open about it.
It's good.
Yeah, but people don't like talking about it. And I think when you say talking about sex, I think people just think of the act, don't they? Like,
Yeah.
what do people, like you mentioned before, people message you and just think that you have sex all the time because of what you do. Um, what do people, based on your job title, what do people assume you do versus what you actually do? It's like
Oh,
one of those Instagram posts, like, what would my parents think I do, what I actually do?
yeah. Yeah, what people assume I do is, yeah, I
Stand
masturbate every
positions.
day. I have sex every day. I constantly talk about sex all the time. And to be honest, I don't.
Basically just a horny bitch.
Yeah. What I do is, yeah, talk about sex a lot, but it's more intimacy. So, yeah, as you just said, it's more to do with not the actual physical act of sex, it's more the emotional, intellectual, physical part of not the actual like penetrative sex. It's more to do with the actual connection.
Right.
And a lot of people, and this can happen in the workplace, it can happen at home in family life, is that you get rid of or you just end up not communicating because you've lost that connection. So then I talk about connection a lot and communication a lot because when you've been in a relationship for, I don't know, like 5, 10 years plus, we're nearly on 26 years together in June. And it's like you constantly have to keep changing. And when you've got issues at home, because you can't talk to your partner about it. So when you first got together, the first couple of years was probably really, really good. Like you talk constantly, you flirt, you have fun with each other. It's just like you're in the honeymoon phase. But then when you kind of go back to work or you're just doing normal everyday things, maybe
Putting the
children come
bins
along.
out,
Yeah.
loading the dishwasher.
Yeah, mundane chores, all that lot. Your communication then starts to go and you just take each other for granted. And then you then just become like flatmates or housemates and you just become best friends rather than actually lovers. And certainly if you've got children, I always say you need to be um, couple first and parents second because you were a couple first and then you are parents second. So you do need to keep that communication open. But then a lot of people that I coach have struggles with the communication. So it might be, I had a guy last week actually that he heads up a team in HR and he's got 20 people under him. and yet he can say anything and do anything with that team, but when he gets home, he doesn't have a clue how to deal with it. So he's been leader all
Oh,
day, and then
yeah.
he's just like completely stuck. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this, because like he's been in work mode. And then I kind of said, well, then you kind of need to put it in work mode at home, but not be so aggressive.
And it's
So
like,
instead, yeah. So yeah, going back to that, I do talk about intimacy a lot because it is something that needs to be spoken about. But yeah, what it versus is and is not, it's very different. It is really funny actually. Some of the DMs that I get are just hilarious. I should actually post them.
oh my God, you really should. Please, yeah, you have to, because I bet
Yeah,
that they are obviously anonymized and to protect
yeah,
these
yeah,
people. But, yeah, because I think I've been to, like I mentioned earlier before we actually pressed record and started the podcast, I've been to see a sex therapist, and I have no shame in saying that. There was a point, in my life, so I've been with Pete 12, coming up to 12 years,
amazing.
and probably over the last 4 years, is our sex life is better
Good.
than it well, ever been apart from at the
Yeah,
beginning. Probably
yeah,
similar, because I do think you take it for granted, and I think people assume that sex is just this physical thing, and no one talks to you about sex, about how to
yeah,
have good sex. No one talks
definitely.
to you about that unless you go and see someone like yourself. You have
Yeah,
no idea. We all just end up having it. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, but we never learn about it. Like, we have coaches in the gym,
yeah,
we have business coaches, like, people show us how to do most things, but people don't often look outside and go and ask for help with sex because they don't like
yeah,
talking about it.
yeah,
But yeah, a big part of it for me, and I think is probably what we'll touch on today, was that and it obviously it is a part of having, having a sexual relationship, but in all other relationships, in any area of your life, figuring out what you want
mhm,
and asking for what you want is really important. So that's your communication piece. And a lot of what I worked with it was on myself, like how I felt about myself, my own sexuality, how to communicate
yeah,
with not just with people, but outside of work. And
yeah,
it was all about not trust. We had a lot of trust, but probably didn't have the right enough intimacy given that we lived together, and it was a communication piece, but not necessarily back and forth. It was my communication that I worked on,
yeah,
um, and it was really good, absolute game changer. Highly recommend. So when you said you come on the podcast, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things that I could talk to you about. Um, but I think, obviously we're going to get into intimacy a little bit more and boundaries, which is a super important topic, I think. Um, but what we've just touched on there is communication is really
mhm,
important. That's one of the three things that you mentioned: trust, intimacy, and communication. And I think, like I said, outside of work, like, if you look at it in recruitment terms, communication is a vital part of any recruitment campaign. You're attracting, screening, and interviewing humans and candidates to be your potential team members, interviewing them, demonstrating culture, values, and personality, but then also trading expectations. What do you want? What do you want in return? What do you expect? And you're finding people that fit with your in your rhythm. So communication is so important in any area of your life and any relationship that you have. Um, so why do you kind of going further to that? Why do you think people struggle with communication? For obviously with the work that you do, why do this? Are people struggling to say how they feel? Are they struggling to ask for what they want?
yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of people do. And it's just because they are overthinking things. So it might be that you've got something that you want to say in your mind, but then you think you say it and or in your mind you say it, and then you then have a conversation in your mind with how you think that's gonna go. And then you think, no, that's not gonna work. I'm not gonna do that. And actually a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, I'm
But I
nodding,
always
I'm
come back.
nodding. For the people listening, I'm nodding.
Yeah. I always come back to the dishwasher analogy that you have, let's say you've just washed up from dinner or you're putting the plates in the dishwasher and you're doing it wrong. So your partner comes along and says, no, you're not doing that right. You're not doing that right at all. I do it this way. You're not doing it right. I'm like, right, okay. So you have an argument about the dishwasher. What actually happens is that it's not the dishwasher. It's
Oh,
everything. It's
Okay.
everything that has built up over the weeks or months that you possibly keep having whatever argument that it is, the same disagreement over and over again, and you can't get past it. So then you're loading the dishwasher, everything then blows up. Well, I'm sorry, what is going on here? Why am I loading the dishwasher wrong? I've been doing this the same way for however many years, and it's wrong now. And it's like, right, let's come away from the dishwasher. What is the issue? Because little things that have been building up and up and up for him or your partner is then right, okay, that's the massive blow up. So it's then coming back to right, we need to come back to breath work. Let's both sit down, let's calm down. What I get my clients to do is sit back to back. You could probably do this in the office as well if there's if there's an issue.
Oh, I love this idea because yeah, the dishwasher analogy. Well, we do have a dishwasher, but I do think sometimes people get like there's not a lot of conflict at Fresh, but every now and again, we're with them each other a lot of the time, as
Yeah,
any employees are. You're with them 8 hours a day,
yeah,
and I think sometimes something small will happen, and you're like, and then someone will just have a bit of a snap, and you're like, that was really uncalled for and
yeah,
unexpected and quite a small thing. But then I think when, like you said, with the dishwasher analogy, walking it back, it isn't actually about that. Something's been bugging them. A few things have
yeah.
happened. They've not said anything, and then they've just gone, bah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. Because what you could do and what I get my clients to do is sit back to back and you are actually touching each other. So you're actually then feeling each other. You're not actually looking at each other because you can't, because you're back to back. But then your breath sinks and it allows you to come back to the dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, which are the love hormones, calming hormones. Most of the time, your cortisol levels are like way up here, your stress
Mhm.
hormones way up here, serotonin levels are way down. You need to switch it round. So then when you have got conflict, you normally, if you're sitting back to back, you're actually touching. So you're allowing each other to feel each other, which then allows all the hormones to come out and feel calm. And then one person speaks, but doesn't blame. It's all using I statements. So it's I feel, whatever the emotion is, when you, whatever the action is, I would like, whatever you would like to move through, and I will feel whatever you would feel afterwards. So it's using that instead of you do this and you do that and blah, 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 blah. But then the person who's listening is not allowed to speak until that first person has finished and say, okay, you may go now. And then the second person can then talk and reiterate what the first person has said, because you're actively listening then as well. Because a lot of the time, people at home and in the workplace are there in person, but you're not actively listening. You're either thinking about your to-do list or that email you need to send, or if you're at home, what am I going to cook for dinner, things like that. So it's then trying to, right, okay, I now listening to you, you have said this is my answer. And then the first person can't speak until that person has finished. So it really then allows each other to be seen and heard. So that's a massive communication breakdown, like barrier. It's not a barrier. You're blowing it out. You're getting rid of that barrier because you are actively listening. You are allowing each other to speak by using those I statements. And a lot of people probably do that in work actually as well. Leadership. I don't know if when you go on a course, you have to state that. Right, this is the way you speak to each other. This is the way you deal with conflict. I don't know. I could be
It's
barking up the
funny
wrong
though,
tree.
because when we've done difficult conversation training, now my therapist,
That's good.
non-sex therapist, she calls it brave conversations. Um, and because they're not difficult, but you have to be
Mhm.
brave to have them. They can
Yeah.
become difficult. But yeah, instead of having a conversation with someone and say, you've done this or you've not done that, they always say, I've noticed that
Yes.
this is what happens.
Yeah.
And then add so it's similar because
Yeah.
instead of you're not attacking then, are you? You're
Yeah.
talking about what you would like and how you feel, and no one can argue with that.
Yeah.
But you're not putting them on the back foot on the defense because you're not attacking them. You're not being judgmental. You're not calling them names
Yeah.
or criticizing because no one's going to be open to that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're gonna put that barrier up already and then they're gonna argue.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like the back to back thing as well because sometimes I think when people have these conversations at the dishwasher, it's because you're not face to face. So you're side
Mhm.
by side. So you're washing the dishes, you're emptying the dishwasher up, stacking it, whatever. You're not. It's easier, I think, to somehow you're picking something that's easier to have a bit of a dig
Yeah.
at. but you're also not face to face. So
Good.
you're doing something which I think makes it easier for people. So I like the back to back because you can still have what might be a brave or difficult conversation, but it kind of de-risks it a little bit because you're not having to look at someone. So it makes it probably a bit more of a safer space for you to say
Yeah.
how you feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
also, a really good one is to bring the fun back, but also as you cook dinner. So when you're at home, if you've had a really, really stressful day, you come home, but you do both need to speak to each other about something that's quite close to your heart or something that needs to be spoken about. A really good thing is to cook together. So you're actually moving around the kitchen, you're actually like close together, you're side by side, you're chopping, one's doing something on the oven, it's whatever is going on. And then maybe you need to reach round that other person to get something. So you're actually close. But then also having, now a lot of people don't do this anymore, but sitting down at the table twice a week. That's all I want people to do is sit down at the table twice a week, because then that allows you to actually have proper conversations. And actually having a glass of water or picking up your knife and fork is like a barrier. So when you're
Yeah.
actually talking to each other and you are the one bringing something up that you feel strongly about, but you are scared because you don't know what they're going to say. It's like when you pick up the knife and fork, it gives you a chance to actually pause and think about, okay, what am I going to say? How am I going to say this without sounding bad or condescending or whatever? So it's then allowing you to just have that quick 1 or 2 seconds where you can actually rethink and then say what you need to say. Again, coming back to I statements or
Nice.
just however you feel how you need to speak or how you want to talk. But it's about bringing the fun back into it, because we used to have fun, say in the first few years of the relationship, but then everything else has just come in, mundane stuff, chores, all that lot. So it's about having date nights or having time like lunch breaks together if you can do. Just go out and do something. It doesn't have to cost anything at all either. Like most of the time I get my clients to do once a week or once a month date night that you don't have to spend any money. You can just stay at home, certainly if you've got children as well. You can play a game like play Monopoly, turn off all devices. You can watch a TV show or whatever, but you're making sure that you're together. You're actually doing something that you both want to do, because that then brings the communication back to making it easier. When you actually are spending quality time together, you're not just in and out, rushing around all the way everywhere. It's bringing that connection back, and then that then leads back into more intimate connections, sexual connections, all of the other things from the trust and communication.
Yeah, I think that was a really important point because I think obviously you and your partner having that when you first get together, you're not living together, so you have to
Yeah.
make purposeful time to spend together, and it's not just sitting. It might be watching Netflix and getting a takeaway, but usually you're going and doing something. So you're not just sat in the house. You
No.
actually go. So that's why it's fun. Then you move in because you're like, we're all spending time together. We love each other. Everything's gonna be great. Let's just make it easier and move in. And then when you move in, you're like, just kills the vibe, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's hard. You have to make that conscious effort. You're with each other all the time, so you're with each other all the time, but not with each other all the time. And I think maybe that link back to work. So like me and Emily, we see each other all the time at work, but
Mhm.
we need to remember to make conscious effort to spend time together as sisters
Yeah.
with for that relationship. And I think any business partner or people that set up together probably need to do that. Go and you obviously knew each other before you set up a business. You were maybe mates, you may be siblings or family members. Like you need to make conscious effort to make time for that relationship as well as your business relationship. And
Definitely.
then I think bringing it back to work, like we do a lot of team building, and I do think that's one of the things. As much as it takes you away from work and it costs money, and sometimes it might just be going out having some beers together. Other times we might go and do activities, but it's that conscious effort away from work,
Yeah.
spending time together that's more quality. And then we have our team buffets for anniversaries, and we all start have have lunch together. I think we could probably do more of that. Talking about it now with you is like maybe once a week we eat together and
Yeah.
just Yeah, I really like that idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I read, I think it was Jamie Lang, from Candy Kittens, who's now just taken on Greys, I think it is.
Oh,
But I
has
saw his
he?
post. Yeah, I saw his post last week, and every Wednesday they make sure that they sit down and have lunch together. And I thought that's really good. The whole team, just every Wednesday, it's a non-negotiable,
Love
and they
that.
don't talk about work. They
Yeah.
talk about everything but. And I just thought that's really good because you are friends as well because you spend so long together,
Yeah.
like 8, 9 hours a day, so you do become friends outside of work as well.
Oh, I love this. I think a
Yeah.
lot of my clients will benefit from this because, like, we do a lot of work to help our clients, keep hold of the people that we work so hard and they pay us a lot of money to go and
Yeah,
find. Like, we know you want to make sure they're the right people and you want to
yeah,
make sure to stay. And I think people forget, like, once they're in, that's it. They're in doing their job. But, one-to-ones reviews, appraisals, like with your manager and your employer and you and vice versa,
yeah,
important. But peer to peer, like, it's making sure people spend time together, develop relationships
yeah,
and maintain them over time so that coming to work for a salary is not just a transaction, it's
yeah,
actually a relationship, and then
yeah.
people are happier, people will thrive, like, relationships and communication, I think the foundation of all things, really.
Yeah, it is definitely. And with that as well, then once you get to know them outside of work, it then becomes easier to bring up something when there is an
Yeah.
issue because
Yeah,
they can trust you.
yeah,
So you know how both of you are going to talk and react and things like that. So it's then easier to bring up something that is hard to talk about in a work scenario.
yeah.
So yeah, by doing that, I think it would really help. Yeah, you should do that.
And then in, like, a lot with a lot of your clients, would you say that communication is more often than not the underlying reason, um, for any challenges they might have with their relationships, sex and intimacy?
Yeah, definitely, because
Crazy,
you just
isn't it? I bet
you
none of them
can't talk.
think that either. I bet they're shocked.
Yeah, 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 they are, definitely. And it's really, really interesting when you say, "Okay, how would you speak to your partner?" And then they're like, "Oh, I don't know," because that's quite a weird thing to say. And then they're like, "Well, this is how I speak to them." It's like, "Okay, let's dive deeper. How do you speak to each other?" Like my daughter's 8, and when she comes home from school, she is so sassy. Like, hang on a minute, you don't speak to your teachers like that. Why do you speak to
Yeah.
us like that? And it
Oh,
comes back to that again. So it's
yeah.
when you don't feel safe. Well, rephrase that. Your body doesn't feel safe. So if we go way back, say like, I don't know, Iron Age people, they, if they were going to reproduce, so sex is biologically, you are reproducing. That's kind of what it is in like a massive basis thing. That is what happens. And your body needs to feel safe. And a lot of the time now, because of all social media, or we're here, there, and everywhere. We're constantly linked to everyone. We're connected so much all the time. Our body is constantly in the fight or flight response. So it's in the sympathetic nervous system. So your blood is mainly staying in the heart, lungs, and brain to keep you alive. So when you're actually wanting to be intimate with someone and you're wanting sex with someone, your body, you as in like physical body, says, yes, I want sex. But your actual body is saying, no, I can't, I don't feel safe. Even though you're at home or you're wherever you are, you feel safe, your body doesn't feel safe. And
I
so then you
totally get
have to
that.
come back to just feeling like you want to. So that's why a lot of people I see as well have ED, so erectile dysfunction. That can happen with women as well. It's because we're so on the go all the time that people can't climax, they can't have those orgasms because you're constantly in that fight or flight response. So it's all about coming back to the communication with yourself, but also with your partner. And also, a lot of people don't really know what they like and how they like to be touched. So I also get my clients to say to each other or just go off and masturbate, like do it yourself, or have like a double one where you're laying side by side, you're touching yourself, they're touching themselves, you're listening to each other, you're then noticing how each other is feeling and where they're touching. So it might not be even like genital touch, it might be breasts, it might be like the neck, the behind the ears, all of the erogenous zones will then be able to come back to, right, this is where I like to be touched. and this is how I want to be touched. And then you can then explain to your partner, right, this is what I would like you to do. I know it's not very romantic, but it then gets your body in the
Yeah.
calm state, the rest and digest, parasympathetic nervous system, for your body to go, right, I'm calm now. I will let you go. So all of the blood will then flow from the heart, lungs, and brain down into the genitals, which then does light up all of, I think in the clitoris now, they've just said that, or just found out that there's over 10,000 nerve endings. And it's not just that tiny little dot, it
Oh,
goes
no,
way
it isn't.
into the whole vulva. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible. Whereas a man will have around 4,000 nerve endings in his penis. So it's trying to
Oh my
bring the
gosh.
communication
Yeah.
back. I know, it's just fascinating. I love this stuff.
Yeah, that's
So then it's
insane.
trying to bring back the communication of what do I need and want in that scenario? How can I get the best from it? How can I get that amazing orgasm? Because when you do, orgasms are incredible at calming you down, keeping you safe, allowing your mind to feel calm, allowing the serotonin levels to stay high, which you can then bring into the office, and you'll have much more of a better work output or work
Yeah.
productive day,
Basically,
I suppose.
orgasms
So,
are good for business.
yes. You shout that on the door.
Yeah, but like you said, all that good stuff, you feel better.
Yeah.
It's a a good stress reliever. What's quite tricky, I think, for people that are stressed, which is I imagine is a big problem with the people, because you said you deal with high achievers. So I imagine they are stressing, and cortisol probably play a big part in the challenges they're facing. I mean, I
Yeah.
would class myself as one of those people.
Yeah.
I love going on holiday because I'm a lot less stressed. We have a lot more sex on holiday.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, when you look at the research as to what actually happens when people have an orgasm, or especially, for females, and it's unbelievable, and I think
Yeah.
what's sad is that people can't unlock that because of issues of communication.
Mhm.
They can't unlock, I don't know, the potential really, and
Yeah.
everyone should be having a healthy sex life, and it will make the rest of their life healthy and successful as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It really does. The power is within you, yet we have been dulled down to say, no, you need all this stuff. You need all these
yeah,
medications. I'm no doctor, honestly, but they're obviously, they have their place, but coming back to like well-being and holistic things, everything is within you if you know the tools to
yeah.
actually come back to. And yeah, it does go into the work as well. When you're really stressed, you're worried, you're anxious all the time. Mostly, if you look around any office, everyone's shoulders are like right up here, or you're hunched over. We actually shouldn't sit like at a right angle. Our bodies are not designed to
Oh,
sit in a right
really?
angle. Yeah, we should squat. You should- Everyone
I'm
lowers
all up for
their
that. Yeah.
temples. Yeah, or standing, moving around, walking, because we haven't been designed to sit at a right angle at all. So then that's going to make our bone, our well, certainly in the office. I know there's a lot of like standing desks, or the way the chairs are now, you can move them all around and stuff like that. There's still issues with lower back. So then when you've got pain in your body, you then don't want to be intimate with your partner because you're in pain.
Yeah.
So it's then looking at your body. Where is the pain in my body? Is it in my shoulders? Is it in my lower back? Is it in my pelvis? When it's in the pelvis and lower back, that is affecting your sex organs. That's affecting everything. I'm not going to go spiritual in here, but but it then affects all of like the sexual energy that comes out and comes up and through your body. So then you are then stressed and you're worried, you're anxious, you're then shallow breathing. Shallow breathing is incredible because when we're hunched over, you're squashing your diaphragm. So it's not allowing you to open your chest up. And in yoga, where I still teach yoga, we open up our chest. So it's like I get people to push their shoulders back, even just sitting at a desk, you can do it there. Opening out your shoulders. So your shoulder blades are touching each other, like pulling back. You're then opening out your chest, which then automatically keeps you straight. And then you're not folding forwards. So then you're allowing all of that oxygen to flow into your lungs, the bronchi, the bronchioles, which are the tiny little capillaries in your lungs, which don't ever get used, not really, because we shallow breathe a lot, because we're constantly in that fight or flight response.
Yeah.
So it just allows you to come back. So when you take 3 big deep breaths, and I used to teach a corporate company, actually, we used to do yoga in the office like you're doing today. And it was something that we did first off, was that you take 3 big deep breaths. and it allows you just to feel grounded. So then when you start, and actually they bought in, which you could possibly do, they bought in every morning before you started work at your desk, you take 3 big deep breaths, because it just allows you to feel that
Yeah.
calmness and groundedness. And then that allows you then to have better communication, better intimacy, better trust with those, say, business partners or whatever you're doing in the office, but then also trust at home, or trust with your partner, trust with friends. It all is interconnected no matter where you are within your life. It's just amazing. I love it.
It is internet, and it's like it when you walk it back, it can be really simple. I mean,
Yeah.
starting with communication can be really hard, but in itself sounds like a simple thing to do. But like if you are struggling communicating and not having intimacy, and things are not good at home, that will have a knock on effect at work, and equally so if you're struggling to communicate, and and feel appreciated, valued, seen, and heard at work. Then that's going to have a knock on effect in your relationships at home. So either way, figuring out the communication and trust and all of that jazz is
Yeah.
it's so important.
It is. It really, really is.
And then where does so I suppose following on from communication, where do then boundaries come into play?
Yeah, boundaries is a really big one actually, because if you can't say your boundaries and you can't say no to something that you actually don't want to do, but you end up doing it, you're only going to half do it. And this
Oh,
is
okay.
where you can say no and say, okay, I'm not using I statements again. I don't feel like I could give you 100% of my time or 100% of my concentration, because my heart's not in it. And yes, I know it's very difficult when you get to work and you have to do some things. It's like, right, okay, coming back to the breath, coming back to keeping calm. Let's have, if you don't want to do it, but you have to, saying, right, okay, I'm going to put all my energy into this, or asking someone for help. So when it comes to things at home, asking for help rather than you doing it all at the same time, or all of you doing half of things. Just come back to saying, okay, pick 3 things that are going to be the 3 most important things, and I will get those done first before anything else. But then when it comes to boundaries, say with sexual boundaries, it might be that you have had some trauma in the past. Everyone seems to have had some kind of childhood trauma or childhood issues that we just don't know about. And that's not even really like parental blame. It's just that they are passing it on through their generation because they haven't been taught whatever it is. So it's trying to then work out where this issue is. Pain in the body, it could be anything like that. It could be, yeah, stress, trauma. It could be anything from young adulthood, childhood, even moving straight into like the adulthood. It might be that you've had issues and that you can't say what your boundaries are. So it's asking yourself, coming back to yourself and saying, right, what am I happy with? How can I say yes to this? How can I say no to this? What would the person asking me to do something, what would they be like? And it's coming back to like a traffic light system. So in a sexual relationship, it could be, okay, would you be happy to try a new sex position today? Yes or no. If it's no, okay, why would it be a no? Let's try and have a traffic light system. So at the moment you're red, let's maybe try a different position, see how that is. How does that make you feel? How does that feel in your body? What are you feeling in your mind? How does that come up for you? Is that green? Is that amber? Is that red? And coming back to that. So then when it's talking about communication, what are the boundaries that you will or will not want to have? And saying, right, okay, traffic light system again. What am I happy to talk about? What am I not happy to talk about? Where do my barriers come up? How do I feel when someone says something to me and I don't like it? Are my shoulders up? Am I like crossing arms, crossing legs? My body is closed? My body language is closed. How does that feel? Because then when you actually do know what your boundaries are, it's figuring out first what they are, and then you can then feel better when you do say no. You have the power to say no, and you then feel better about saying no. But then also you feel better about saying yes to something that you actually
Yeah.
do enjoy. And I think a lot of the time people just go along with it. And certainly like at Christmases or I don't know, like family get-togethers. Some people within your family or friendship group don't want to actually do that, or even at work don't want to do that. So then they're not going to be there 100%. Yeah, they're physically there, but they're not actually going to do a good output because they don't want to. So it's then trying to think, okay, where is their boundary? What do they need to help them through this? But also sticking to what you want, what you
Yeah.
desire, what happens within your setup, on yourself, by yourself. It's fascinating. I love it.
It is fascinating. It, like you say, it's all communication. But and then, like we talked before about figuring out what you want, whether
Mhm.
whether you're talking about a sexual relationship with your partner and touch, or whether it's something at work or with your friends, like you said at Christmas plans. It's figuring out. But then it's like figuring out where your boundaries are, like you
Yeah,
said, and understanding them and being able to communicate them and with that. They're like the traffic light system because sometimes people are thinking no, but they don't know how to say no in a way that doesn't make them sound like, people are like, "Oh, wow, okay." Doesn't they
yeah,
don't want other people to feel bad. They don't wanna look bad. All this is like you say, they're overthinking it in their head, and they just need to figure out how to say no. Because if you're looking at, like, I don't know, if you went on holiday together with your family, I've just been to for the weekend, and if someone wants to do something but other people don't, you're like,
yeah,
"Oh, well, what do we do then?" Because if people
yeah,
don't communicate and everyone goes, some people have a rubbish time.
yeah,
But then, like, actually, I don't wanna do that. However, what about if we did this? Or when you get back, we could do this, or
yeah,
let us know when you get there and we'll come and meet you after we've gone and done this. And it's just
yeah,
about communication and
yeah.
compromise and
Compromise.
just
Yeah,
talking about things. Like, you talk about it in, let's try a new sex position. You might be like, "Oh, that is a hard no for me.
yeah,
However, I wouldn't mind trying this one." And
yeah,
it's just you're like, okay. Or like at work, when I remember when Vicky joined, and I'm like, right, okay. If I'd said to her, "Do you want to stand on stage and do a speech?" She'd have been like, "No, I'm red."
yeah,
That's a hard no for me.
yeah,
But you might start with, "Do you want to start? Do you want to go to a networking event with me?" She'd be like, "Yeah, okay." And then you start to build it up
yeah.
because no, now she will stand on stage and do a speech.
Yay.
But if she didn't start there, that was her boundary. And as
Yeah.
she's got confident in her own abilities and what she knows she can do, her boundaries have changed because they do, don't they? They evolve.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And certainly in a work environment as well, like touch, what are you as a specific person happy to deal with as in touch? So when you come into the office, do you hug each other? Do you just like high five? What's your kind of
Love that.
boundary to
Oh,
say
and
hi?
high five everybody.
Yeah. Good morning. And then it's like, okay, is that too much? So I'm a hugger. I'll hug anybody.
Same.
So it's like, but that person that you're hugging is like, oh no, I don't want to be hugged. So that's their boundary, but you don't know their boundary because they haven't
Told
communicated
you.
it. They
Yeah.
haven't said about it. So
Yeah.
it might be that, yeah, that one person's asking for help at their desk and then someone comes over and leans over them. Is that person then feeling, oh no, I'm a bit too close to you. Where's my boundary in my body boundary? Like, I can't remember what the word is. What's that? You have one that you is your own boundary, but it's like self-awareness. That's it. But it then comes to, okay, what is everybody's boundary, but also what is my boundary? And then, yeah, let's move through it. Can I have someone to help me through this so I can then become like Vicky? I'm now speaking on stage, and it's like, yeah, great. So it's moving past the stuckness, I suppose, or
Yeah.
the fear where your cortisol levels are going, no, I can't do this, I can't do this. When
Yeah.
actually,
But don't say that.
yeah,
Don't say it. You're like, because you're not a hugger. You just be like, "Oh, thanks so much for helping me." Or, "Lovely to meet you. I'm just
yeah,
let you know, I'm not much of a hugger." That's all you need to say.
yeah,
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 sometimes you will get hugged as a non-hugger,
yeah,
unfortunately, because huggers will hug. But you just have to say, "Oh, lovely to meet you. Thanks so much for the hug. I'm just I'm not just to let you know, I'm not really much of a
yeah,
hugger." You don't need to be
yeah.
like, "Don't ever hug me again or else I'll
Yeah.
punch you."
Yeah, having the confidence to say what you want, that's a boundary.
Yeah, but
Having
it's
the
hard
confidence to
though.
say it.
It is
Yeah.
hard. Why is
It
it
is
so
hard.
hard to say what we want? Like,
It
why?
is. It really is because you don't want to, you fear that someone's going to shout at you or that you fear that you're going to upset that person. So then you are upsetting that person, but you're upsetting yourself because you're not keeping to
Yeah.
your boundary.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to navigate actually, but it's looking at everything. So how are they speaking to you? Are they face to face? Are they facing you in the eyes? Are you looking at each other in the eyes? Are they arms folded or like slightly turned away from you? What's their body language like? Are they open to talking to you? Are they not? Are they facing away from you? That's a slight body language to say, no, I'm slightly on the defensive. Don't touch me right now. But if you're facing each other, maybe it's called mirroring, where one of you touches the other person's arm and then comes away. And then that person will then mirror what you've just done. So they will then touch your arm or you'll touch your face and they'll touch their face. So it's really interesting that they are then building up the trust because of what you're doing. They will then mirror. And it's really this happens in dating as well. It's really amazing how
Oh my God.
it happens. Yeah, it's really weird. Next time you go out for a dinner, look around and see if anyone's doing that.
Oh my God, they're mirroring over there. Okay, so that's communication boundaries, very interwoven. I think boundaries, it is communication, isn't it? But specific things. And so your belief is get communication right, work on that, build your boundaries and communicate your boundaries.
Mhm.
And then you achieve intimacy? Would you say that does it come next? Like, where does it sit?
Yeah, I suppose it does. It could take a while. So I'm dealing
What?
with a few clients. Yeah. I've got a few clients at the moment actually where we've taken sex off the table. Like penetrative sex is off the table because it's already been off the table for say 6 months, a year, even 3 years. You're like, what?
Yeah. But I
No.
bet taking it off the table when they've been worrying about it, because not my past experience, when you don't want to have it and it's not going well, you start to think, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
I'm broken. And then that is awful. Then that
Yeah.
puts more pressure and stress
Yeah.
on it. It becomes this bigger problem.
Yeah.
And so by coming to you and being in that situation, you're saying, let's take it off the table. I bet they
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
relief.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time before they've worked with me, it's like one of them will come and hug you, or like say, okay, so say your partner comes home, hugs you, you will automatically be like closed off. No, because I know that's going to end up in sex. And I don't want sex tonight. So then you're automatically closed off. You don't want to give the hug because it might lead to sex.
Yeah, or avoid a
You're already
kiss
there.
because that might lead to yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So when you have, right, sex off the table for 6 months or 3 months, you've already got rid of that boundary. So no, you've brought that boundary in. So your body can then say, okay, he's going to hug me tonight. And that's okay
It's
because
safe.
I know it's not going to end in sex. We're both committed that it's not going to have sex. We're not going to have sex for 3, 6 months, whatever you've decided. So then you can then start to build up from there. And it's about bringing the intimacy back again that has been lost. So again, it's all come back down to chores, or you've moved in together, you're actually there, but you're not actually seeing each other really, you're not spending quality time. So it's about then coming back to finding the intimacy in non-sexual ways. So having that hug for more than 20 seconds, or having that kiss for more than 20 seconds, rather than just a peck, hello, goodbye. Having quality time together. So when you're sat down on the sofa in the evening watching TV, no one's on phones, no one's on devices. You're actually picking something to watch and you're actually interwoven with your legs. So you're sat on the sofa, one of you's crossed over the other with legs, or you're holding each other's hands, or you're just stroking each other. But then moving up to like the bedroom, it could be, right, we're not going to have sex. We know that. So let's have a massage. So one of you massages that person for, say, 15 minutes, then you swap and then you have that massage. But you know it's not going to end in sex. So you can actually take that
Who
completely
doesn't love a
out.
massage?
Yeah, yeah. From your favourite person. So it's then doing that, or just giving each other like a hairbrush, just allowing each other to come back to just the physical intimacy, which then doesn't end in sex, but allows you to feel all of the feels, making sure that communication is right and saying, right, okay, I really feel tired, or I really feel whatever you feel tonight. Can we just have a naked cuddle? Can we just I don't know, put some music on and just relax. Like read each other an erotic story, even like just 2 pages. Because when you do read or you do listen to an erotic story, it allows you not again to have penetrative sex, but it allows the hormones to come in, the connection hormones. So serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. Oxytocin's a love hormone that allows you to feel connected to each other. Again, there's no there's no push to have sex. It's about building that connection. And then when you've done this for 3 or 4 months, you then start to feel, okay, I maybe can go a little bit further, and I can maybe, what I normally do is say to them, have mutual masturbation. So you have their hand on you, you guide their hand around where you want to be touched. They are then watching you and watching what your facial expressions are like. How do you feel in that moment? What's your breath like? What's your chest moving up and down? What is are your cheeks flushed? Are you liking it? Maybe even looking down there in towards the genitals, the vulva. What are you making them do with their hands that you're guiding? How does that feel? Like, what's the vulva looking like? Is it all engorged? Is the clitoris engorged? How does that make you feel? And then swapping around. So then you're then doing that on them. And it just depends on, yeah, moving around their hands, around your hands, moving around each other's bodies, because then you get to know. Because in your 20s is very different, sex is very different to in your 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
So it's like you constantly change depending on your life cycle, your life stage. And our sex life is so different from when we were in our 20s to now in our 40s. It's much more open, much more honest, much more like we can just try anything and it doesn't bother us. So whereas in the 20s, it was like, oh, I don't know, it's a bit like, ugh. So it's then trying to, because we weren't communicating, and it comes back to that again, back
And
to
it's also,
communicating.
yeah, and it's also, I think as you get older, like in your early 20s, you might still be in education, or you're just starting out into the world of work. You might still be living at home. You have a lot. Your stress is different. I'm not going to say you have a lot
Yeah.
less stress, because it's all relative, and at that time in your life, you've not experienced anything else.
Mhm.
And I do think as you get older, when people bring kids into it, and you've got mortgages, like stress is such a big factor. And I think people don't realize you've got to change the way that you communicate and the way that you might bring sex, but, back onto the table, maybe
Yeah.
literally, not not or not. And the communication will need to change around that, and it has to become almost, you have to really make time for it. Like you've mentioned
Yeah.
quality time a few times. It is, I think, I mean, I'm glad, because you're almost your own case study, but that's good that your sex is better now, more open, because you are older and you've got more responsibilities, more, a
Yeah.
lot more stress in your life potentially.
Yeah.
Um,
I also go to more towards more of when you have big jobs or you're like high achiever, you've also got a family. Sex really just is like a back burner. You put it on the back burner because you're so busy with everything. So then it's like, right, okay, let's schedule in sex. Certainly if you're working from home or you have one day at home that the kids are at school, let's just schedule it in. I know it's not very romantic and it can't be very spontaneous, but it's like a non-negotiable. You're always going to have a non-negotiable office day. You're always going to have a non-negotiable meeting that has to happen. So why can't sex or
yeah.
intimacy be that non-negotiable? Like every Friday, my husband and I will go for a non-negotiable coffee chat. Every Friday, we make sure between 9 and 10, we don't book anything in. We
I
always
love
go for that.
that.
That is like our outside the house as well, because we're both in the business together. So we run the business together. So it's then making sure that we're out of the house, we have that non-negotiable time, but then we also then book it in. So people in the office, if you share a calendar, obviously don't write sex with my husband 10 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Oh, she's not available right now.
Well, you know what you're doing.
And might
So
not be
do
for
that.
an hour after it. So maybe let's call back tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love, but I think,
But then you can. It can be that
yeah.
way because it needs to be. You need to schedule it in, and then you can then start to be like, right, okay. So I always say when you finish whatever it was that you were doing, like intimate wise, penetrative sex, what's the word? Foreplay will then start. after that finishes until the next sex session. So it's then building up. So sending flirty texts to each other, like
Oh,
flirting,
yeah.
having fun, bring the fun back as well. So having pillow fights or just tickling each other, coming back to the flirting, and it becomes awkward. You're just like, I don't want to flirt with them. That doesn't seem right because we've been together forever. But it's about the fun. And
Being
then when you
playful,
do
isn't
feel,
it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because then when you are happy in your relationship at home, you're then happier in the office and you come
100%.
into the office happier. You're not down, you're not depressed. You're then coming into the office like, hi, everything's fine, kind of thing, when it is. And so it's
Yeah.
then being yourself, being 100% unapologetically yourself.
Love that. And it yeah, but it has to, and like you said, you talk about intimacy in a relationship, like it, and then and the scheduling things in isn't, doesn't seem very romantic, but it's just making a conscious effort to still do
Yeah.
it and not, and because if you don't do it, then that's a lot less romantic
Yeah.
than making the effort to do it.
Yeah,
Um, One
definitely.
thing that really kind of came to mind when you were talking is like when you were talking about before about when you took sex off the table and building into intimacy up. When we were at the wedding last July and we were having the photos taken, we had to do really long kisses for the photo. But now a long kiss is a thing. Like it's not necessarily, it doesn't lead to sex. It's just a
Yeah.
nice, I don't know, it really connects us, and we just
Yeah.
have a long kiss, and but it came because we were just doing it for ages, waiting for the
Yeah.
photographer's shot. And I really like these. I feel
Yeah.
like they really pull us together, but
Yeah.
in a non-sexual but really intimate and
Yeah.
connected way. It's
Definitely, because there's so many nerve endings in the lips
yeah.
that it's then moving the energy in between you two as a couple. So then it's building up that amazing, well, all the serotonin, the happy hormones are coming, they're flooding your body because you feel safe in that moment. You feel safe and you're sharing it with someone else, which is where your body then feels, right, okay, I can be safe now, which is not very often in the world that we live in right now. So it's really, really good to allow yourself that time and also thinking about it. Like when you're actually thinking about it, now you're thinking about that memory. That memory makes you feel good because it made you feel good in the first place. So then
Oh,
automatically you're then, oh, I really like that
it's super
because
nice.
I know it's going to make me feel good. So now your body right now is feeling good because of all the hormones that it remembers from that kiss with the
Oh, love
photographer going
that.
click, 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 click.
And then, so talking about intimacy in a wider sense, because I think people on automatically think intimacy like sex, sexual relationships, touch, romantic partnerships. But I think intimacy, are there different types? Is it a lot wider reaching than that?
Yeah, there kind of is because you've got the physical intimacy, so
Yeah,
like physical touch, but then you've got the intellectual intimacy, and then you've also got the major like connective intimacy of all of those things put together will then have like one big massive intimacy. So yeah, intimacy is massive in the fact that the way you speak to each other, it could be something to do with the kids, as in like that's communication, but that's still intimacy because you're actually trying to sort out together your team building in your own partnership, I suppose.
yeah.
So that's an intimate time. But then you could then be like, okay, a quick kiss, goodbye. That's an intimate thing, but it might not be like a full on kiss because you've got to run out the door. So that's an intimate issue or intimacy thing. But then, yeah, coming back to how you both feel about each other. So when I got married, my nan, she's not here anymore, but my nan, she'd always said to me on my wedding night, she said, never go to bed on an argument. And that's so true because
Yeah.
she always made sure that she never did. And actually, they never really argued, to be honest. And they were married like nearly 60 years, I think,
Oh,
70 years. Amazing. But it was always to do with, right, okay, intimacy is very different, but then also everyone's intimacy is different as well. So whatever you class as intimacy might be someone
yeah.
completely different's intimacy. And it's how your body feels, how your body shows up with what does that mean? So it could be intimacy in the office as well. So it might be like a hug or high five. That's classed as intimacy from work colleagues. So there's boundaries as well. So those would be a different intimacy thing. So it's a big a big
Yeah.
topic really.
It is a big topic, and it is like you say, it's really important with your relationships at home. But I do think it, like you just touched on it then. I'm really glad you think like that because I I think there is intimacy outside of home,
Mhm.
outside of your romantic relationship or your family relationships or your friend relationships. 'Cause I think you have intimacy with your friends, like you have, you know, you'll hug each other,
Yeah,
you might touch each other on the arm and support each other. But also, I think it's that connection of thoughts, ideas, experiences, having conversations,
yeah,
things in common. Um, I think that all is that your intellectual intimacy that you
yeah,
mentioned before.
yeah,
I think that
yeah,
extends to the workplace, because I
yeah.
think that's what it then becomes culture. I do think it is almost intimacy in a way, and I know it'll sound weird to people, but we, won an award last month, still mentioning it, and we're 10. Um, on the 4th of May, we're having a party on Thursday, and we're doing like a spread in a magazine to celebrate, to talk about the award win and turning 10, and just making a big thing about it because you only do it once. And
Mhm.
part of that piece, obviously they've interviewed me and Emily, but they've asked for 3 pieces from 3 people in the team, and one of them was Tom, and I can't remember the words exactly, but what he said was that coming to work at Fresh and being part of the team is unlike any other workplace. He said it's not just about coming and doing your job and finding CVs. It's much more than that. You know, from the lime green carpet to the team building days and the crazy things we do together and the
Yeah,
mission of people that we have that just really works together. And I
it's
think
really
that's because
nice.
I think we do have intimacy because
Yeah,
we spend a lot of time away from work together. We do a lot of team building. We go out, we do stupid things together. We all share the same values and similar beliefs, and we connect through experiences and intellectually. And I do think that's intimacy.
it is. Yeah, yeah, it really is because then you feel open that you can be. Another thing is that what I say to my clients and also in the office as well is you can be open, honest, raw, and real with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if
You
you're not
say,
gonna be, then you can't have that connection. You can't have that intimate connection with someone because there's that barrier that when that barrier's up, it is really you really struggle to actually be open, honest, raw, and real. So again, when that comes back into a I don't know, like in an office area, or you've got to have that meeting with someone that is quite hard to have that conversation with, or there's something big say you're going to speak on stage or something, you need to be open, honest, raw, and real with each other, with whoever you're working with. And that comes back to the intellectual and the trust, because
yeah,
you need trust, because if you don't trust that person, you're not going to be open, honest, raw, and real.
yeah.
So
So
it's
important, isn't it?
doing
And it's
that.
mad when
Yeah.
you think about it and you unravel it.
Mhm.
Intimacy is part. It is just as important as it is communication,
Yeah.
isn't it? And they're so interwoven, and
Yeah.
and and they're present in every area of your
Yeah.
life, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so what's something that you think people often get wrong with intimacy?
Communication
Yeah,
and expectations of, well, you think that they're going to think this and actually you haven't spoken about it, so you might think that they're completely wrong. So it might be that you say something in your mind and then they come back and say something completely different, and then you're surprised because you thought it would be different.
yeah,
So yeah, it really it's so interesting, like the psychological point of view from it is that yeah, it opens up more conversations, and it allows you then again to be open and honest, and it's about coming back to yourself. So if you're not happy in yourself to say how you feel within whatever it is, that situation, it's then coming back to, okay, what is my trigger? Why am I triggered when someone's asked me that? What am I doing? How am I feeling in my body? What's my heart rate like? What's my breathing like? Have I got sweaty palms? Why am I being triggered? And then figuring out, okay, how can I move through this trigger for me to feel okay when someone does this to me or someone does that to me? So it might be that someone touches your arm, and you're like, oh no, I don't like that.
mm,
Why am I being touched? It's then, why is that trigger? Maybe you had trauma in the past that someone touched your arm and you got burnt or something like that. It doesn't even have to be a sexual trauma, it could be
yeah,
something, but there's that touch that then automatically goes up to your brain. Oh no, that's dangerous. I can't do that. So it's coming back to yourself, like you were saying right at the beginning, coming back to yourself. What are the boundaries? What are the trust what can I do to myself to make me feel better in that situation? So when it comes to intimacy and being intimate, you know what your boundaries are, you know what your trust is, you know what you desire at that point, and then desirability is very different in different scenarios. So it could be that you desire something, say, I don't know, today, but in 2 weeks' time, you could be completely different. What do I desire in 2 weeks' time? But then it's also about the male and female is very different. The body is very different. So in a female, we obviously have about 28-day cycle ish, and our moods and our intimate issues or intimacy can change within those 4 weeks, whereas a male has a 24-hour cycle.
Oh,
So
wow.
they can go through all of their cycle within 24 hours. That's kind of where like the 9 to 5 thing's set up.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
so
I saw this
interesting.
on Instagram recently and I'm like, is
Oh,
this true?
yeah,
I obviously
it's
don't
true.
believe everything I see on it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where it's come from. That's why women struggle with the 9 to 5 with their bodies, because it's not set up for their bodies. So, say when we're ovulating, we're very magnetic, we can do all of everything that we want to do, only for roughly those 4 days of our month. Whereas then when we're actually coming into when we're coming into actually like the bleed of our cycle, we want to hunker down. We want to just be quiet. We don't really take on much work if we can. We don't really take on much work. We want to be calm. We want to be safe. And a lot of this, now I'm going off on the tangent, but but a lot of the time when we are on the bleed, we then get cramp. So PMS, we get irritable, we get grumpy, you get tummy ache. That is your body's way of saying, I need to calm down. I need to sit down. I need to
It's true.
de-stress.
Yeah.
I don't know what your demographics like. Is there more women to men in the office?
Yeah, there's 12 of us
Yeah.
and there's two guys. So yeah. And
Right. Yeah.
it is mad, isn't it? Because we're going back, we'll probably just hide in a cave somewhere and chill out.
Yeah.
But then because of all the I mean, we are going off on a side quest now. Of all the marketing to us by sanitary products, which I think mostly were created by men, interestingly.
Yeah.
Um we're marketed to that. You remember the always adverts. You can do it
Yeah.
all. You can play tennis. You can go snowboarding, and you don't have to stop just because you're on your feet. And you're like, no, you
Yeah.
don't.
That's what you want. That's what you need. It was like years ago. I can't remember what years, but when there used to be witches and things like that, everybody on their bleed, or even actually in animals, say the lionesses will all be in season at the same time. So they'll all be bleeding. They'll all be wanting to have sex with that one male. Not that we're going to
Oh
do it
gosh.
in in human terms. But then when in female terms, that is what we used to do, as in like we used to go off in the woods, all bleed at the same time, all be away from everybody else within that
That sounds
week.
lovely.
And I know, yeah. That's why. And then when people come back, I think that's where lunatic comes from, because that that is when all of the women used to go into the woods and just dance around and be amazing, and like the power is within you. Now I'm going all spiritual, but it's there. That's why the lunatic word, and that's where it's come from,
Oh
is
my
that.
God.
So it's like it's trying to bring back and bring into the workplace, trying to think, okay, when this person is on their bleed, they need to do less work. Now, I know obviously it's not going to work and it's not
It's
going
so
to
hard,
happen.
isn't it? I mean, how do you broach that conversation with everyone and then schedule it? You're like, right, okay, well, this is why Laura's quiet this week. She might
Yeah,
work from home a bit more than normal.
yeah,
If you
go
did
for it.
that and everyone was up for it, it would be great. I think Emily tried to do it years ago and tried to put when we had a much smaller team.
Right, yeah.
And we did put them in our calendars, so we
Yeah,
knew.
cool,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah,
stopped doing it as we grew, and we didn't think
yeah,
people would like
it's
it.
harder. Yeah,
Oh, bring up back off the side quest.
yeah,
I think I've got like just a last question, then we'll play fresh or stale.
yeah.
But just a last point for the people listening. If they are listening to this and recognizing any of this in themselves, what we've talked about today, like communication, relationships, boundaries, intimacy, what's one thing that's relatively simple or easy that they could start doing today that could make a real difference?
Breath work. always come down to breath work.
Okay.
Now, there's a tantric breathwork practice called 478, and it really keeps you in the moment. So you can do this wherever you are. You can do it in the office if you feel stressed or you're worried or anxious. You can also do it at home whenever you feel worried or stressed. But also, you can do it in bed as well. So you can do it together. Whereas, so if you are thinking about you want to be intimate with your partner, but you are not in that moment right now, or you're intimate with each other, you're actually having penetrative sex, but you then think, oh no, right, I need to do that or I need to do this. It brings it back into the moment. So you breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Now, don't
Oh,
hold if
okay.
you're pregnant because you're then going to hold the breath for the baby. You don't want
Oh God. Disclaimer.
that. That wouldn't be good. But then when you do that, it allows your body to again feel calm. It allows the cortisol levels to come down. It allows you to open up your chest. It allows you to bring in that fresh oxygen that's going to then oxygenate your blood, which then brings fresh oxygen to your brain, which then allows you to feel all of these feelings, allowing you to feel calm. So then also you can then do another one. So it's breathwork practice, which is the first thing. But then coming back to a 3-3-3. So what are 3 things that you can smell in that moment? What are the 3 things that you can touch in that moment? And what are the 3 things that you can see in that moment? So you're using your senses, you're using your body through breath work to then feel grounded, feel calm. And those 2 are the main things that I would get anyone to do within that kind of time frame, within that area that you just feel like, oh, everything's getting on top of me. I can't do this right now. Come back to that 4-7-8 and 3-3-3, because
Okay.
that is one thing that can really make you feel better, so much better.
Brill. Thank you very much for that. And thank you so much. I've enjoyed this. I think we've done it
Yeah,
done well. I think it's like an hour and 5, which I think
likewise.
is good, considering I could carry on talking to you the whole day.
I could do.
Um, so I'm just going to do fresh or stale. Did Rachel tell you what this was?
I
No.
think so, yeah.
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 So I say 5 things. You tell me if you think they're fabulously fresh or stale, and a little bit of information as to why. So
Okay.
I just put these together. So they're news to me. So the smell of coffee.
Fresh, although I hate coffee.
What? Do
I
you
like
like the
the
smell of it
smell.
but hate drinking it?
Yeah. I love the smell, but I hate the taste.
That's so interesting. I don't think there's anything I like the smell of that I don't like the taste of.
Yeah. Really
Uh,
weird.
sch- I know one. This one will be scheduled date nights.
Fresh.
Yeah. Boundaries at work.
Ooh. Fresh.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, needed.
Roast chicken dinner.
Fresh.
Love a roast dinner. I think that's my
That's
favourite
my
food
favourite.
ever. Yeah.
Yep.
And then finally, LinkedIn comment trolls.
Stale but fresh because they're hilarious, some of them.
Yeah, I mean, they do help with reach.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
They have their place. Do you get a lot of it, given the type of thing you post about?
Yeah, there was a post that went viral last year. Actually, it was 1 in 5 people don't clean their sex toys, and that really went viral. 1
1
in 5
in
don't clean
5?
them. It's mental, absolutely
Ew.
mental. I know, mad. And so the comments
Rachel,
went nuts.
if we've got one of those people listening, sort it out.
Yeah, they can go in the dishwasher, by the way.
Oh my god! Can they really? Lovely.
Yeah,
Well, that
shouldn't
might
do
that
that.
might, prevent any, arguments at the
Yeah,
dishwasher.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. No, some of those comments were like, "I can't believe this is LinkedIn. Why are you posting this on here?" And then my answers, which I've actually got quite a few collaborations from, is that it's like, well, okay, why are you saying that? What is wrong with your intimate life? What is wrong? Why are you dissing what I'm doing? I'm just sharing
Yeah,
this
I
because
just
it's needed in
touched
the
a
world.
nerve.
What is the issue? So then I'm passing it back to them and they're like, oh, yeah, that's why I've got the issue. I'm like, oh, there you go then. So actually, you
Love
have
that.
learned something.
Yes, so definitely keep going with that. I love your
Yeah.
post, and I love
Thank
that
you.
you're opening up a topic that people really struggle to talk about, but everybody, well, no, maybe not everybody. Can't say that. I can't speak for everyone. A lot of people will want to talk about it, or at least
Yeah.
listen and absorb information and think about it themselves, and then maybe talk about things, improve something, or they've got a friend that they need to help. I think everyone should be talking about it. We should feel comfortable about it. And I really, really appreciate the fact that you're trying to normalize the subject and then talk
Oh, thank you.
everything else that kind of is linked to it. It is transferable. Maybe not having sex at work, but intimacy,
Yeah.
boundaries, communication, relationships, all relevant.
Yeah, it really, really is. And actually, I think Rachel was saying the other day that she saw the comments on this one poll that I did. Can't remember what it was about now, but she and Tom were talking about it. And it was something to do with, I don't want to know, not me personally, but this person that was commenting, I don't want to know what Colin from accounts is doing on his date night. And I was like, yeah, but that's the point. We should just normalize it. We should talk about it. And my thing is that I want people to talk about it at the dinner table when they're having a dinner party. I want it to just be normalized as like, what did you do this week? What was exciting this week? What do you do for a job? And just like, what's your sex life like? It
Oh my God.
just rolls
I
off.
need to invite you to a dinner party. That'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone's faces
Yeah.
would be shocked and like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Most people would be uncomfortable, not everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I can talk to you all day, and
So
maybe
yeah,
we need to do another podcast and talk about a
yes,
different topic.
definitely.
But thank you so much for coming on, Gemma. Where can people find you on LinkedIn? Gemma Nice, Nice.
Yeah, Gemma Nice, I think it's called The Relationship Coach. I can't even remember. Just search Gemma Nice, Nice, and I will pop up. Yeah, come and follow me and always DM me because I never bite. I'll always talk to you, no
Oh,
matter what you say. Half the time I'm in LinkedIn jail because I say something that the algorithm
oh,
doesn't
are
like.
you?
Yeah. You're like, oh, great, right, okay, what have I said now? Or you can find me on my website at gemmanice.com. So come and say
Okay.
hi over there.
Perfect. Our website is F for fresh, P for perspective, resourcing.co.uk. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Laura Leyland, Leyland. But thanks again, Gemma, for coming so much to everyone that listened. If you like the podcast, leave a review, give us a follow, and tell somebody else about it.